We created this park for this purpose, right in the middle of the community, set the people of the community, regardless of what part of Albany they're from. What part of the tri-district area they're from, what part of the state they're from, what part of the United States they're from. Let's go. So not only are we here to give information about our brother, but we also are here to teach. So we're going to go ahead and start with our direct statement. I am the chairman of the local organizing committee. I will start with the statement from a new African-centered perspective. The LOC of Albany is a revolutionary organization serving the needs by promoting unity, education, and culture for alliance. The LOC seeking justice that is in past and present has been detrimental to our people. If those goals are not attainable, we believe in separating economically, socially, and educationally. We are justice or else. The men sitting here before you are supporters of our organization, and they all have an opportunity to address you after this statement. We're here because on August 20th, a young black man by the name of Alizar Williams was shot by police in the back on the 300 block of Elk Street. It is now September 4th, and the community is still without answers. There has been a discrepancy in regards to the information disseminated to our people. The current police chief, Mike Basil, initial press conference was bereft of details and, to say the least, unimpressive. We believe more to the story than has been released. We want it. We want to know who called the police and why. We want to know who said there was a gun. We want to know why the police report was so horribly written. We want to know who the shooter is and why he shot. We want to know why the information regarding the investigation is taking so long to be released. We want to know what the news chief is going to do about this. We want to know about the mayor's thoughts about this incident. Finally, we want to know why this black man was once again shot in the back. We want all information released to Alizar Williams' lawyer immediately. Until then, we will continue to monitor closely the investigation. Justice or else is not an organization government. We are of independent thought. The people must be heard and be able to speak out against systematic racism. We owe it to God and our ancestors to fight as we're being gunned down by people who are supposed to protect us. This is the end of our statement. Each brother will have a few words to say. I will then close, and then we'll open up the questions. Our first brother up is Brother C.D. Wisha, Aaron Carter. Thank you. Asante Sana, thank you for coming. The need to do is important. Asking questions is imperative. Unity is a necessity for us. It has not changed. Our experience, 400 years, within the last decade, across the United States, across the state of New York, and right here in Albany, the story becomes the same. We seeking justice. We want the necessary information known, and we want our children to see us standing so that they might learn what we do today makes a difference for tomorrow. Sacrifice is necessary. We're not going to gain anything by just sitting on our backside. We have to use our feet and hands, our mind and hearts, and get our spirit intact and demand.
We got slave jobs. Do unto Caesar, render to Caesar what's Caesar, but what's for us after that 8th hour, 15th hour, sacrifice begins. We got to do this. We got to see the men out and appreciate the women for supporting and taking lead on many issues. This brother did not deserve to be treated the way he's been treated. Nothing new. What makes the difference is what we do, how we think, how we treat one another, how our organizations might come together and coalesce together so that the people come together and coalesce together. We need serious people to turn out other people. You are the army. You are the soldiers. We got to fight this fight. Don't stop. Continue on. Asante Sana.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I just want to say I represent a person who answered the call. A phone call came. They said it was going to be a meeting. We had a discussion. Things didn't sound right. When things don't sound right, there needs to be some noise made. I don't understand why we had to wait this long for the attention to be brought to this subject by the community. If you're not paying attention to what's going on in our community, we are going from crisis to crisis. And a lot of the crises aren't being addressed. So in our community, we have a lot of people that's walking around that's hurt, that feel a lot of different ways about a lot of different things. And the funny thing is we're dealing with the big stuff that's on our plate. But it's the little things. And this one, it came out as a little thing because it said a man was shot from Binghamton. And most people in the community, did the same thing that I did. It said, I don't know him. And I happened to be on vacation when this incident happened. And when I came back, I didn't hear anything else about it until Lauren Manning, I saw on Facebook, Lauren said something about it. And then I heard a press conference, and it just didn't sound right. And what I'm challenging, what I'm asking our community is that if it doesn't sound right, people got to speak up. Don't wait for it to be a situation where it hits your home to start speaking up, because then it's too late. In our community, we should be upset. We should be in an uproar right now. Because very easily that man's life could have been taken, and we would be having a different conversation right now. It's a blessing that that young man could talk. I had a conversation with the brother, and it wasn't, and it didn't line up to what was reported. But we have to, this shouldn't be the end of the noise being made for this brother. There's people on Facebook. There's people on your street. We got to make some noise. We got to let them know that this is unacceptable. Because, like I said, I know how I would feel if it was my family member. We've been there. So I'm challenging. We have to wake up. We have to do better than what we're doing right now in terms of these crises that are coming through our community. Because if we don't do something, if we don't take a proactive approach, it's going to be knocking on your door next.
And I put my young brother on. I said, go on Facebook, find his family. I want to talk to them because we weren't hearing anything. Once again, Councilperson Johnson made the statement that we kind of distanced ourselves. It was reported he's from Binghamton. But one thing about the situation, people, if your brother's toe gets stepped on, then you should feel the pain. So I don't care if he was from Japan. I consider him my brother. So I took due diligence in trying to find the family. I took due diligence in going to try to see the brother, because I don't want any of our people abused profile. I don't care if he had 10 guns. The only information I had by Wednesday is that no gun was found on the scene and that the man was shot in the back. That's not enough information for me to sit down and do anything, because I felt the pain. So we are here in the name of the brother. He is grateful that we are speaking out. And I want to say this. I want to thank Miss Alice Green for holding that press conference. I don't care what we think about Alice, because I got some feedback on that. But everybody got to do their part and do what they can. You don't have to come out and be a loudmouth and go on the corner talking about that person, this person, hey, I don't never see them on the community, or I don't never see them in the community. I want to know right now, is there any pastors, preachers who are willing to be recognized, politicians who want to get behind just wanting to say, I want to know what's going on? Anybody? Anybody want to be recognized? We have our brother, I believe he's a county legislator, Mert Simpson, is that right? All right, he's here. Is there anybody else that want to be recognized? Anybody else here? Yes, sir. County legislator. You know his name? Samuel Fine. Samuel Fine. All right, we have him here. Is there anybody else? Pastor Wilson is here. We're not calling our people and you here for anything crazy. The fact is, right now, as we stand here, that we have a young man, a 19-year-old paralyzed, shot in the back. That has not been disputed. Well, it has been disputed. I was in a meeting with the chief, and we were disputing, was it the shoulder or was it the back? Well, if it's the shoulder, was it the front, you can say the shoulder, but that shoulder's in the front. I was at the hospital. Pull it up. There, sir. I went to I didn't see nothing in the front. I don't see no shots in the front. So if you want to call it the shoulder, then call it the shoulder, the back of the shoulder. And my brother, where is he at? He took the chief to task, and he said, they had a brief argument over was it the shoulder or the back, but suffice it to say that something fishy is about this story, and that we have to get to the bottom of it. Now, we have heard reports that the police officer that shot the man has some prior incidences in regards to police brutality. All right, that's the facts that's coming out. I haven't heard any dispute on that. We're not, I mean, you can have 1,000 police brutality incidences. That don't mean that this one was police brutality, but the fact of the matter is, he has some priors. I worked in the prison system. You know what they told me in my orientation? Don't never believe a convict. He lie all the time. He's always a liar, always a thief, always will, always has been. I didn't take that very good. I believe in reform. I believe in forgiveness. You say we Christians, don't? Where's the forgiveness? But anyway, we have some price. The Albany Police Department, in and of itself, doesn't have a good record. I was born and raised in this town. And they do not have a good record to black people and how we, that's a fact. In my opinion, that people. Man, he came in, we can't say with knives, spoons, forks, plates. Next thing we know, we don't see any of that. Only thing we see is a dead black man. And a picture later with toys in his hand. How can we trust? They should want to prove. But you don't get the benefit of the doubt when you have a bad track record. Your credibility in your past can be brought up and used against you. You do not get Albany police. You do not get the benefit of the doubt. We have a new chief coming in. I feel sorry for him. He gonna either catch hell or he might have to go with the good old boys network. How strong he is, how much community policing. We want to see, is he true? And are we true with the community policing? I own a business right across the street. Well, I don't own it. I work there. I haven't had one officer come in there. But you know what? I went to that store over there, and the police come, and they say, here, sir, we're the community police. They're on the bike. Here go my card. They don't come in my business. I'm there all the time. I ain't never received a card. I'm right across the street. You don't come ask me. I've been plugging along at this, trying to keep my eyes open for black people for 30 years.
All right, brother.
Ain't nobody come to me.
That's right.
I haven't heard anything. I made the call at Derek. I called him. I don't got nobody else's phone number. I probably could him. I had his number, so I called him. I haven't heard anybody. I haven't heard any statements. I'm sorry. Sometimes we have to, once again, if your toe gets stepped on, you have, the person gonna say, ouch. Sometimes we gotta say, ouch. Politicians, pastors.
That's right.
Go back to your church and ask your deacon and your pastor why he wasn't down here. Or is he here? Step up. We have certain facts. We have to do our due diligence. I'm here to represent the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
We have a statement from the brother of Alazar Williams. Brother Nick, and he'll disseminate a message from the brother. Here you go, sir.
I just want to thank the public. I wasn't going to come up here. The subject is too touchy for me to even speak on. I'm up there at the hospital every day, though. My little brother Alazar wants me to tell the public, though, that he's in good spirits. He's currently undergoing rehab and physical therapy, and he's determined to walk again.
It's very difficult to follow Brother Minister Anthony from the Muhammad Mosque, but I'm going to go ahead and try. Now, I know I'm trying to speak in the spirit of the people when we talk about rallies and press conferences and marches. And on Facebook and personal conversations, we'll say, well, what does that do? Does that change anything? What do we get out of that? That's a great question to ask. There's thousands of solutions written in thousands of books by thousands of black authors. Very good one, Message to the Black Man, by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
And we can follow those to the T. Within the context of that book is the solution, the information that we need. You have to make it part of your conduct. A brother is shot, whether he dies or not, thousands of people come out. See, his last name is Williams. But when something happens to him, my name is Williams. That brother names is Williams. That brother names is Williams. That brother names is Williams. We all name Williams. And we all know him. We was there when he was birthed. There when he said his first name. We was there when he walked for the first time. We was there for his birthdays. And so when harm comes to him, the community comes together. It's been a long, hot summer. We in September. It's still hot. We had the disrespect at Arbor Hill. We put a dumpster on our church, our courts. Why children congregate at? Because they come from a school that doesn't teach them anything. The people that don't look like them, that don't care about them. So they come out and try to enjoy themselves. And when they come out there that day, they had a trash can on their court. The community was not informed. Our brothers have been murdered in the streets. The family comes together. The people come together. We hear from the families of the people. The fathers have talked. They have reconciled, and they have talked, and they have ambitions. And that needs to be known. Because when they start their movement, we have to be part of that too. But outside of all the movements, institutions need to be built. See, there's your solution. See, it's not just about a rally to get everybody worked up. We could do that. We can shut down highways. People that's outside this community come here and work, take our resources and go back. We can make sure they don't come back here. See, unity's all around you right here. You see the brothers of the Nation of Islam who don't get any media play. They're around here doing security. God in Action Ministries is here, providing security as well. We just want to make sure we aren't harmed anymore, that's all. We got each other's back, but we want to make sure doubly. See, what we're here today is, we want to make sure this incident, quote unquote, is on the forefront of our people's minds. Like Brother Minister said, this could be anybody. This could be your cousin. This could be your auntie, your grandma. Doesn't matter the gender. Doesn't matter the age. Doesn't matter the education. Doesn't matter the job title. You could be the next victim. See, it was a couple weeks ago, police had a cookout here, right at Malcolm X Park. A lot of areas to do cookouts, but they had it here. Interesting. No representatives of the community. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And we feel, or they feel, just go anywhere you want, feed the black people of the community, and they'll be all right. So you didn't think we wasn't going to talk, did you? You think you was going to come here and get some stuff? We're going to speak truth to power here. Justice and L stands for truth to power. Hamburgers and hot dogs ain't going to fix this. We're not interested in police reform. The system must be jumped. The system is predicated on our death and destruction. This is why we're here now. This is why we have to pray for justice. This is why we have to march for justice. This is why we have to hope for justice. We're not interested in that no more. Things will change. This is why we're here. This is why we have this sign. See, you can't come here at this park and speak in favor of the power structure. This man was against the power structure. And this is why we have the sign right in front of us. So no matter what pictures you take, you can't take a picture without that man's face in the picture. And we're going to speak to him and all our ancestors who thought and fought and talked about this very subject, police brutality. How long has this been going on? Why were the police created? What was their initial job? Anybody know? History? Anybody teach African history?
Yes, sir.
Anybody teach when our slaves left the plantation, quote unquote, they got lost, they ran away? There was a people that had a badge on their chest that went and got them and brought them back. This is your plantation. If you find yourself somewhere you ain't supposed to be, they're gonna bring you back here and put you in their dungeon. You let everybody know, Justice L said this, you let everybody know we was here when we talked about them. Why they had cops here before our press conference and our rally. There's been other rallies. There's been other press conferences. They weren't there then. We don't need them now. We want everybody to know that we got the back of our brother Elazar Williams. Doesn't matter why he was here or where he's from. He's a resident of Albany. The moment he stepped foot here. And we got his back, and anybody else here who's from this community, who considers himself African, we got your back. And we want you to know we're going to do everything in our power to make sure you get justice. Because eventually, we have the system ain't working very well. Don't got our best interests at heart. Having problem at the school. My son keeps getting in trouble. They keep calling me on my job. I can't keep leaving my job to come deal with my son. I'm gonna lose my job. Or the job I'm at, I can't express myself the way I want to. I'm not making enough money to pay the rent. The landlord doesn't seem to be very lenient. Those are all problems of our community. Please keep pulling over my son. I don't have money to bail him out. So he's in there for $500 or $600. We got to get that brother out. Because the family can't. It's too much. Why do you think it's too much? We have to ask ourselves these questions. You can contact us and we'll answer in front of anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter who got the question, and doesn't matter who's asking the question. So this is why we're here, and we thank you for coming out. All our brothers have spoken. We like to make the mic hot. So whoever we pass it to, they may lose their job. That's how hot we want to make it. That's what freedom costs. You got to get uncomfortable. You can't pay for freedom. You can't 9 to 5 your way to freedom. You can't hope your way to freedom. You can't say, "I's good, master the freedom." You got to want freedom. So y'all let us know. Meanwhile, we'll keep our eyes on this case here. Now we have... So before we pass the mic to our brother who's been waiting anxiously, I appreciate that. We're going to field some questions. If anybody has any questions, in regards to myself or any brothers at the table, you can ask those now. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
How do you know that the answer that is going to be given to you is going to be factual and truthful?
That's a great question. The sister said, how do we know the information we're going to get is factful and true? Now the answer to that is, I don't know. We don't know. That's always been the problem. Am I lying? That's always the problem. When we wanted transparency, when we were told transparency, they said, we'll get back to you. Then they give us information that's faulty, because they end up changing their story a few times if you've been keeping track of the newspaper. Our sisters do a hell of a job with making sure the information is given out is square and right and exact. And if it changes, they'll be the first to let us know. So we don't know if they're going to tell us the truth. All we can do is continue to put pressure on them. Because if it don't add up, we'll be back knocking on the door. So since I'm speaking truth here, I don't know if they're going to tell it. I'm never going to tell you the police force is going to tell you the truth. I would never tell that. It will never come out my mouth. So I don't know, sister. But we're going to keep the pressure on them. That's all I can tell you. That's definite. Sister Williams. The sister said, is there a way we can put a demand out so there's any review or information on the police officers regarding the past history of this? And this is something that we have done. I'm sure you said you was on the police review board in previous conversations we've had in the past, that we have the review boards and all that. I think they should be junked, because even you have the review boards and you have the cameras and the body information, and that somehow goes missing, or it wasn't on, or the mic wasn't on. There's always something. And we, again, back to this is the question, we don't get the truth.
So if we're going to do this, unfortunately, we have to swamp them. So you having review boards, instead of 5 people there, it's got to be 1,005 people there. Then you get nervous. When you get nervous and some pressure put on you, you tend to tell the truth. When we deal with our kids, we put some pressure on them, all of a sudden the truth come out. So that's what we need to do. Everything we want, we're going to have to force the hand. It won't be given to you. You have to force the hand. So that being said, it takes all of us to be involved. We've said this before. It takes all of us to be involved in this. And if you can't make it, send someone else in your stead. Because they'll play games with you. This ain't Texas, this is chess. We didn't get in this situation overnight. Go ahead, brother.
All right. I don't need to speak. I like to know, in the interest of justice, what this should be all about. Because this is one issue about finding justice. How many people is going to be that's here today in the interest of justice is going to be at City Hall on Thursday at the next common council meeting, raising their voice in the interest of justice? Or will it be just me down at City Hall on Thursday?
The brother said, who's the next person? How many people are going to come out to City Hall?
Excuse me, and as long as we know who's going to be down there, we can come. Let us know when we got to come. If you don't let us know, we don't know.
Talk to him, sir.
Talk to you.
Now, this is what we're going to say. We're going to say the brother doesn't want to be down there by himself dealing with the Common Council. In regards to speaking up for our people and getting justice, the brother said it's about justice.
And again, I did say, and I will say it louder, sister, so you can hear me. Thursday night, 7 p.m.
Because I want the best friend that was shot.
I'm sure you have.
And I didn't see Joyce out here. I didn't see nobody out here.
I believe.
Okay? You didn't see nobody out here. That man died.
I believe.
That man died.
All right, sis. All right, all right. Let me get to his question.
No.
Let me get to his question. I'm not gonna.
Don't shut me down.
I got you. I got you. Get the mic. I'm gonna do you one better. You're gonna get the mic. Oh, sister, thank you, brother. You asked the question about the Common Council in the City Hall, and when should we be there, and how many people should be there. So our brother Derek Johnson will address that question.
As the second ward, sister, this answer is for you. As the second ward Common Council member, we hold a council meeting the first and the third Mondays of each month. But being that it was a holiday on this Monday, we're going to meet this coming Thursday, tomorrow. No, the day after tomorrow. Yeah. So, and to his question, each Common Council meeting is opened up with community comments. You get 5 minutes to speak. If you feel some type of way about something, come on down there and say something, because then you give the person who represents it's going to be hard for us to follow up, look like we're just talking again. The other wards, when they have issues, the people come down there and they speak. Mr. Anderson comes down there and speaks frequently. He's the only person that comes down there on a regular basis. We need more Marlon Andersons in the community to come down and be a voice for what's going on, whether it's good or bad. We shouldn't just be going down there complaining about negative concerns. We should be talking about what's working in the community so we don't lose that type of stuff. All right, so at this time, we're going to have Mert Simpson, county legislator.
All right, I'm Merton Simpson, and I'm the county legislator for where we are now. It's the second legislative district. I'm also a committee person in the third ward, which we are also in. I really can't believe we're here in 2018. I first came to Albany in 1978, but just before I came here, I was dealing with an organization called the Patrice Lumumba Coalition, with brothers like Alambe Brath, Samori Marksman, and even Kwame Torre worked with us, aka Stokely Carmichael. 1977, 2 young men in New York, Randy Evans, Clifford Glover, and 2 separate incidents were shot dead by the police One officer would claim to have a non-existing health condition called psychomotor epilepsy. He drew his gun by accident and shot somebody. There's no such medical condition. We're here now because you can't say the operation is a success and a patient dies. There's no way somebody who's moving away from you, who's shot in the back, creates any kind of justifiable use of force. And yet we see every day documentation of people who are not threatening, black people, predominantly black men, but also black women, Hispanic brothers and sisters, because it's a continuation of the whole slave system. We're in the new plantation. But this is an ultimate test for the new chief of police. It doesn't matter what he can do in terms of community relations. If he cannot hold the police officer accountable to the highest standards of law for shooting somebody in the back, then he's a failure. There's no such thing. We have seen them disarm people shooting live rounds, and these people have been taken into custody. Why is it that there's always excessive fear when there's a black person? Randy Evans was 10 years old. Clifford Glover was 12 years old. They were looking for grown men who were 6 feet tall, 6'2". But no matter how young or how old a black person is, for somehow, for the police, they're threatened. If they're threatened, they don't need to be on the job.
That's right.
When the situation happened in Albany, when a man was at his own table, he was known to have a mental disability. He was shot at his own table. They claimed he had a knife and gun. Even if he did at his own table, that wasn't a problem. A police photographer came before the regular police force and found a toy truck and keys in his hand. Led by Alice Green, we took the court to Ithaca. They moved the trial to Syracuse and moved it back to Albany, and we got the largest wrongful death settlement for a black person in Albany, $500,000. But the point is, there's no price on life. There's no reason for somebody in their own home to be killed, and the person was a registered patient at the Capital District Psychiatric Center. We have to stand up as a community and make this is a perfect time for this new police officer to come in, because this is an acid test for him. He needs to hold this officer accountable. My understanding was we were going to be given a report by the police. I don't know what happened with that, but that's what I heard on all the news stations. I don't know how that got changed. But one thing I know is that as a community, we have to take a stand. When it came to Dante Ivey, he was walking and was somewhat 32 degrees, water freezes. It was 29 degrees, but the police said he was suspicious because he had his hands in his sleeves. Water still freezes at 32 degrees. The police in a heated car, and they have enough common sense to know that the man was cold. They said he was walking with a funny walk. There's no such thing. People walk the way they walk. There's no such thing as saying the police did nothing wrong, but an innocent person died. It's impossible. Even if the procedures say that that's correct, and those procedures need to be changed. If the procedures say that you only use deadly force as a last resort, then the people who use it as a first resort need to be held accountable. If you have the power of life and death in your hands, you can't just get a desk job and a vacation and say it's all right. And it's not the first situation where a police officer that's had a history of abuse but moved from one department to another. And there's something about the organizational culture. I have police officers in my family. I work with a number of police officers in New York City, and a lot of them who stood up to protect us were actually in jeopardy themselves because the organizational culture says that black people are to be marginalized, that their job is to protect property and people who have wealth, and that they're supposed to keep us in check on a new plantation. But technically we pay their taxes. They're supposed to be serving us. And so we get the government that we deserve. As a community, if we're united and take a consistent stand, it can make a difference. But the truth is, we don't even vote. The last county executive race, less than 20 people in the whole county voted, which means it's not just black people who didn't vote, because we're not a majority in the county. People have not voted because government has not been responsible. But there's a direct connection between our involvement and the results we get. If we're not in it, they don't have to be accountable. So we need to stand up, and we need to not let this go. This needs to be a community-wide effort until the police officer who wrongfully shot this young man is brought to full extent of justice, and we should go all the way to the Supreme Court, as bad as it is, if necessary.
That's right.
We want a few representations of the community, people who have been here for a number of years, get an opportunity to speak. Some have more platforms to be able to speak, and people hear their voice regularly, but there's people here who don't get heard enough. And since we controlling this thing, we want to give them an opportunity to speak first and foremost. So we have some people here who want to articulate some of the things that they've been going through in regards to the community, whether it be personally or otherwise, or about the brother and their feelings on it. Our brother Bam, as affectionately called, is going to speak. Hotep, can y'all hear me okay? Hotep and peaceful greetings, and may your spirit, mind, and body be at one in synchronicity in this thing called life. The fact of the matter is that enough is enough. Enough is enough. The question we need to ask ourselves, what are we willing to do? What are we willing to do to bring forth not only a solution, right, but to make sure that this doesn't continue anymore? This is not anything new, right? And I want to speak over, because there's some other ethnicities here, right? And I want to let you guys know you guys are not exempt from when we talk about the plantation. You guys may be separated from stereotypes and classes, but we are all in this fight together. We all need to realize that. Secondly, we all need to realize our inalienable rights that we have, the servitude that we have under God, the omniscient force that dwells inside us that we need to take hold of and make demands. And not only make demands, because it's just not about demands, it's about solutions, resolution. Because one of the facts is that that officer didn't know that young man wasn't from out of town. That could have been my son. That could have been your son, your niece, your nephew. May so have you. Right? Is that right or wrong? Right. So we got to start asking ourselves, really, right? This has been a behavior that's been continually perpetuated, and it's get justified over and over and over. But I have to share some with you guys. Because in order for us to make effective change as we move forward in this social, economic, and political system, first we have to realize some things. We have to realize the law that we participate in blindly, the Constitution.